What sort of challenges have you faced in your career?
I think the biggest challenge so far was when I joined Jaguar Land Rover, because there's a bit of a cliche, I think, in project management, or a question that often gets asked around, can you lead programs or projects that you know nothing about? Perhaps an idea that you could bounce between the nuclear industry to retail to automotive, and it's all really the same thing if you know the project management fundamentals. And that's exactly the position I was in, because I developed products in for the semiconductor industry and for the scientific instrument industry. I've then gone to Ricardo, and we were in power generation and very small amounts of automotive. But then suddenly I was into Jaguar Land Rover, and there's no way they recruited me for my knowledge of developing and launching cars. I simply didn't have any. So I found joining JLR at a senior manager level without the 12 years of experience I had at Atlas Copco was really tough. And it was tough because I didn't have the relationships within the business. I didn't have just those years of experience of solving these problems before. Everything was new. So I think my reflection on that was that it absolutely can be done. It's just that it's harder, and you probably, when you join, you're a bit like the office or project manager who can talk about the tools, but you don't have that that core of the industry within you. You can't accept that as being okay. You can accept it as okay during your onboarding period and maybe 1 to 2 years afterwards, but in the end, if you're going to be the best project leader you can be, then it's really important to start getting passionate about the industry and getting a few iterations through the project management cycle in the industry that you're in.
That's really interesting, because I often think that, project management is project management. Why is it that people end up in very strict verticals with project management rather than having that fluidity across? Because I think you can, but as you've just raised, there are very steep learning curves and challenges about, at least you came from an engineering background. Someone had come into that role. I don't think it would have been possible to come into that role without at least some form of manufacturing understanding and engineering understanding into the project management role. So it's just really interesting, as I get deeper and deeper into project management, how people really do. They might start off in their beginning career as junior project managers, but they definitely, as they go into their careers, carve out a vertical market where they remain all the way through. Even if it changes, their role changes slightly, the vertical, the kind of subject matter, with you, engineering remains the same.
Absolutely.
And I think businesses look for that as well. I think the clients that I work with, if they're a manufacturing engineering organisation, they would look for your kind of skills and experience. And if they were on the digital side or the IT side, they would be looking for that specific knowledge in that industry, because I guess they run projects slightly differently as well. Although the project management skill set is the same, they're running projects differently. Like, for example, the engineering projects are very much longer, whereas some of the digital projects that my digital clients run are like, short and sharp and really fast and furious. And, it's like months rather than years. So, it is really interesting, even though you have the same qualifications, skill sets, soft skills that someone else in a different industry would have. So it is really, I find it fascinating.
I think that's good what you said about soft skills, actually, because that's, I think in the beginning, that's all you've got to compete with. You when you've joined a level, you don't know the industry, as I said, you don't know the relationship. So it's critically important that project managers don't just run the tools and spit out the answer. You have to have developed your soft skills as a holding pattern until you can catch up, perhaps that, if you call them the harder skills in that particular industry. And I don't know if all project managers see it that way, or put the right amount of emphasis between the two, but certainly if you're considering moving between industries, it's important to have a good soft skill set that you're going to leverage at the beginning.
I think what I've noticed with most project managers and program managers that I speak to is that you're all very personable. So one of the main core soft skills, I would say, is your ability to talk to people at any level on any subject. Even if your hard skill knowledge isn't there, you're able to curiously find out, you know, what information you need to know. So that's, as an outside person looking in, who's not a project manager, but is dealing with project managers and program managers, you know, daily, and looking at jobs for them, you know, it's really interesting to see that is one of the things I would say that I think you would need. If someone said to me, how do you become a good project manager, I would say, well, do you have the skills to talk to people and be curious? And then you've got a good starting platform to build something on, or to build a career on. Curiosity
is a good word as well, because that's not easily trainable, is it?
It's not trainable at all. You've got to be, you know, and I think that's a key in my profession as well, is that, you know, having that curiosity to kind of find out about companies and dig deep and find out about people. I think when you're in a career or profession that involves collaboration and getting people on board together, it's crucial, because, you know, if you're not that interested or not that bothered, and you're just wanting to get the job done, sometimes you miss detail that could transform your project or your program, or in my case, you know, I mean, I run jobs like projects anyway, so it's, you know, it transforms them into something completely different and more satisfying and better end. You get a better end product, I think, or service, or whatever you're aiming for.